How's it going, everyone? Today I'll be using this Hawkeye leadership deck to try to take down Absorbing Man on heroic difficulty. My channel goal is to beat every scenario in the game on heroic difficulty using a different hero. So I can't just use the most broken heroes for every matchup. Sometimes we've got to try to steal a win with one of the weaker heroes. So that's what we're trying to do here today. Absorbing Man is one of the easiest scenarios in the game, and Hawkeye is one of the weakest heroes in the game. Possibly the weakest, depending on who you ask. He's always in when you see those polls on YouTube or Reddit, who's the weakest hero. He's always an option in there. I would still personally have Hulk below due to the hand size, but no question Hawkeye is one of the weakest heroes in the game because of no resource generation, no value generation whatsoever on his identity card, which we really take for granted on so many heroes, but it helps us get out to much better starts in most games and just have, you know, that value every single turn really adds up, especially over the course of a longer game, a heroic game that might be, 6, 8, 10 plus turns. So anyways, enough of ripping on Hawkeye, but what are we trying to do here today? It's kind of hard to build around Hawkeye because his arrow package is extremely self-contained. It doesn't interact with really anything else in the game. So I thought, why not take this opportunity to make a Grant Ward deck? This is a type of deck that I think can be really strong that I haven't had opportunity to use yet. So Grant Ward came in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. box, a 0-cost ally with 2 thwart, 2 attack, and 3 health. Grant Ward cannot defend, and then forced response after you reveal a treachery. You may spend a mental resource. If you do not, take damage equal to his attack and remove him from the game. So obviously a crazy efficient ally on stats, right? 0 cost for 2 thwart and 2 attack. That might be 1 ER to thwart for 6 or attack for 6 or some combination in between, but we might get interrupted by him ditching us. So how do we build around this? Well, we want ready effects like Command Team to help us speed through his uses. We've also got 2 different ways to actually just discard him from play. We've got Last Stand and You Got This. Both cards that might not make it into any other decks that I play on this channel, but work really well in this strategy. So Last Stand, when an ally attacks, it gets +3 attack, but then after that attack resolves, discard that ally. So even just play Grant, attack, Last Stand right away. That's 2 resources for 5 damage. That's very efficient just on its own. Then You Got This, another usually pretty terrible card, but it's 2 ER. After you exhaust your hero to make a basic thwart or attack, discard an ally you control, add that ally's matching power to your hero's power for this use, and ready your hero. So usually this is really bad because we lose the ability of that ally to block. Same reason why Last Stand is actually pretty bad as well. But in the case of Grant Ward, we're happy to just play him for 1 resource, activate him once, and then any other value we get on top of that is just gravy. In fact, ideally, we're discarding him from play so we don't have to suffer the forced response. But in this case, it's with You Got This, it's 2 ER to add most likely 2 attacks, since Hawkeye really wants to attack, not thwart. So add 2 attack, and then ready Hawkeye to be able to attack for 3 again. That's like another 2 ER for 5 points of value there. So very justified, I think. Of course, we've got 3 copies of Make the Call to help get Grant into play. So this is kind of the core of the Grant Ward package, but then I wanted to try to find some other allies that can help assist the strategy or help with the synergy a little bit. So basically I've chosen the allies I can that synergize with Command Team. So this would be all the temporary allies, Professor X, Nick Fury Sr., Nick Fury Jr., Slingshot, who can come in from hand for 1 resource and then could thwart twice and then come back, since that's not really wasting value at all, since she would bounce back to hand anyways. And then Goliath. Goliath is an interesting one, a great finishing card, and also a good card to help combo with Last Stand or You Got This to do a big final push, because he gets this action to gain +4 attack, but then at the end of the phase, discard him. So that can be a huge, efficient burst of damage, but if he's on his way out anyways, we feel less bad about playing Last Stand or playing You Got This. And You Got This, in fact, I mean, buffing our hero for 5 attack, I mean, that's going to be a massive burst of damage if we're able to line that up. So we'll see how much, I mean, once you start playing some of these staple allies like Nick and Professor X, we'll see how often we actually want to make the call Grant versus just making the call for the best allies and riding those to victory. But hopefully we'll get an opportunity, especially at the end of the game, because really this combo, the strength of it is it can do a lot of burst damage, especially at the end of the game. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, like any Hawkeye deck, it's like 50% one deck, 50% another deck, because the arrows just do nothing with this strategy. But I figure why not give it a try. So there's the deck. Let's talk about the Absorbing Man scenario next. So here we've got the Absorbing Man scenario. Like I said, this is one of the easiest scenarios in the game. So that, combined with the fact that his scenario cards have quite a bit of internal interaction, actually makes Absorbing Man a pretty cool scenario to experience in heroic difficulty. When you're adding difficulty just by getting more encounter cards, you're going to see some more of these interactions come up. So that can be kind of a satisfying way to increase the difficulty versus just introducing a new modular set, which is often very fun as well. But just if you're trying to get into heroic, if you're interested in that, you know, Absorbing Man is a good starting point, I would say. But anyways, let's talk about the scenario a bit. So one aspect of this scenario is we have these 4 environments that have the wood, ice, stone, or metal traits, and Absorbing Man gains the traits of each environment in play. And this is where a lot of that interaction comes from, because now he has all these treacheries that have different effects or additional effects depending on what trait Absorbing Man currently has. So in a heroic game, you'll simply see those happen more often, whereas in a normal game, it might be kind of rare that actually happens. So there's 2 treacheries basically for every element, I guess I'll say, for every environment. That gets a little bit worse if Absorbing Man has the corresponding trait. Something else to be aware of is stall tactics. So this places 1 threat on the main scheme for every 2 delay counters on it. So the main scheme gets a delay counter every step 1 of the villain phase. So it's kind of just another clock to make sure we are killing Absorbing Man fast enough. I think that's going to be a strength of this deck, both Hawkeye with having a 3 attack, basic activation, and all his arrows doing damage, and the Grant Ward package being geared around burst damage. I don't think ending the game quickly enough is a huge problem, but stall tactics can add quite a lot of threat to the main scheme if we aren't ready for that and if we let the game drag on for too long. Omnimorph Duplication is an interesting one. It has a different effect depending on what trait Absorbing Man has. And we'll start the game with this Absorbing Power side scheme in play, which gives him all 4 traits. So this card is really, really bad if we can't clear this right away. So that'll be priority number 1 as we start the game. When it comes to these, Piercing Thorns, discard a random card from hand. Might also discard a card we control. Swinging Stone is an extra activation that matches our form. Activates for a little bit more if he has the stone trait. Icy Grip, we're stunned. Pretty bad for Hawkeye, honestly, just because his attack is so good and all the arrows are attacks, but overall, not the worst encounter card. And then gives us indirect damage if he has ice. Steel Kick adds 2 threat to the main scheme or does 3 indirect damage to us, depending on our form, and those each get a little bit worse if he has the metal trait. So I may be being a little bit ambitious here, but Absorbing Man is a relatively easy scenario just because a lot of these encounter cards don't ultimately do that much, especially if the environment isn't matching. So I'm seeing if we can take care of Blizzard today. My first time trying a Thunderbolt minion in a non-Thunderbolt scenario here on heroic difficulty. So this might crash and burn sort of epically if we get Blizzard on an early turn. But honestly, I mean, Hawkeye's strength is dishing out damage. So I feel like Hawkeye's got a chance to do it. So Blizzard just came in the Winter Soldier pack. After he attacks a character, we give that character this Encased in Ice attachment, which is basically this attachment that we can attack and we try to deal exactly 3 damage to it to break the attached character out of the ice. So kind of cool interaction here with Hawkeye. I mean, Hawkeye really wants to attack, but I mean, Hawkeye can kill it in 1 attack of 3, or he could have his allies bust him out. So I really like this. I really like this modular set, but it's very swingy on the difficulty. If we get Blizzard out early before we're set up, it can be a disaster. If we get him too late, then it might not be quite as relevant. So not too many places there where it's a happy medium, but we'll give it a try, see if it adds maybe some spice kind of in the mid game, especially if we get him too late. I mean, it's 16 damage to kill him. We might be ready to just kill Absorbing Man by that point. So we'll see how that goes. Even though Hawkeye's pretty weak, we're playing, leadership, ally recursion, which is just a traditionally strong strategy. So at the very least, I don't think I have made the scenario easier by doing this. So still will be a valid win for my challenge. So tips for playing Absorbing Man. Honestly, not too much to play around. I think he does have just an abnormal amount of damage and threat added to the main scheme outside of activations, so watch out for that. One other thing is all these environments, they have some negative effect if Absorbing Man makes an undefended attack against you. So we do want a higher maybe density of allies or a hero who's better at defending, just to be able to not trigger those abilities. And then they get worse if there's 5 or more delay counters on the main scheme, another reason just to avoid those delay counters from getting out of control. So there we've got the scenario. Let's get into the game. So starting things off, we've got to discard cards from the encounter deck until an environment is discarded. We'll put that into play, shuffle in the rest of the encounter discard pile. Right at the top, okay. We got Metal. So that's after he makes an undefended attack against you, discard 1 resource icon from your hand. And I do believe that is the worst one, so that's too bad. And then Absorbing Man's, when revealed, gives us super absorbing power. So we'd like to see maybe Professor X on turn 1 to clear that and get a block. No matter what, I really want I'll mulligan pretty hard just for an ally to block with. Or maybe the stun arrow would be all right. And here we go. All right, well, we got perfect blocking ally, which is Nick Fury. And then Expert Marksman is just a great resource card. Almost certainly not playing both Nicks. Command team is a potential keep, just as something to do. But let's dig harder for another one of those allies, or another Expert Marksman, or the Quiver. Mulligan 3. Okay. Let's start it off with Nick. Spending these 4 resources. Draw 3 cards. Oh, wow. Well, I won't be playing all 3 of these. I could play 2 of them plus Hawkeye's bow. Or I could substitute 1 of them for Maria Hill. Honestly, it might just be Maria Hill. I mean, she's so much value. If we get an extra attack, like, that's a disaster. Yeah, this feels bad, but Yeah, this feels pretty bad, but I think I do just need to play Maria and draw a card. We'll spend a resource to go get Hawkeye's bow, and then we'll put it into play. I think Expert Marksman is a little better here, because Hawkeye's quiver can get redundant pretty quickly, since we can typically only play one arrow per turn. Does mean we'll have to go the rest of this deck pass without either of those cards. But the best thing we're doing is our allies anyways, so I don't know. Let's play Expert Marksman. Okay, let's go to hero form. All right, so even though Hawkeye attacks for 3, I still like using these early activations to thwart, because we've really just got to stay alive. So we'll thwart for 3 to clear super absorbing power. And then Maria will thwart for 2 on the main scheme, because we want to go to Alter Ego pretty much every time we get a chance. And then, especially with this deck, I'm confident we'll have a good burst of damage at the end of the game to win the game. Okay, a couple arrow options and command team. So a decent amount to do here. Could maybe play Grant, but I don't have the second command team or a You Got This to make full use of him yet. So 1 threat on the main scheme, 1 delay counter. Absorbing Man attacks, Nick Fury blocks. No boost ability. Nick dies. And that was a defended attack, so nothing special from Abandoned Facility. First encounter card is Advance, so Absorbing Man schemes for 2 plus a boost of 1. Don't mind early advances when we don't have a risk of losing. Exhaustion is annoying. We'll get exhausted and then surge into Whiteout, which will go find Blizzard. So we'll get the full test here if Hawkeye is able to defeat Blizzard on turn 1. Not crazy unlikely, because there are 3 copies of him in the deck effectively. But this is pretty tough. In all likelihood, probably stay in hero form, because we are now at risk of scheming out, especially because of that advance. We do have the stun arrow with electric arrow, so that can temporarily save us from Blizzard. Maria's still around to block the first attack from Absorbing Man. So I think it's pretty easy here. Let's go Marksman +1 for electric arrow, exhausting the bow to deal 3 damage to Blizzard and stun. Then we'll pay 2 for command team. And I think I'll just play Grant Ward. It is absolutely a risk that he'll just leave us, but I think I need the tempo pretty badly. Let's just think a little bit more. I could thwart for 4 with Grant and flip down. This is going to go up to 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 2 boosts. Let's say they're like 1.5 on average. That puts us to 7. We could survive that, honestly. we've already hit one advance. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I think we just need every bit of value we can, including our alter ego hand size. So let's have Grant, thwart for 2. Command team to ready Grant and thwart for 2 more. Flip down and end the turn. So let's see how many mentals we draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got to make the call and Mockingbird. So we've got a tough decision if the first card we see is Treachery. But if the second one is a Treachery, it's fine to spend 1 resource to keep Grant in play. So 1 threat on the main scheme will go up to a 2nd delay counter. Absorbing Man schemes for 2 plus a boost of 2. Blizzard schemes for 1 plus a boost of reveal this card. So that is 5 total threat added. 4 from Absorbing Man, 1 from Blizzard. This is a reveal, but it is not Treachery. And Blizzard's response is only after he attacks a character. So 2 encounter cards. Not a Treachery. So we must either spend an energy or take 2 indirect damage. 3 indirect damage if there are 5 or more delay counters. So we should just look and see what we've got going on in the hand now. We've got You Got This now for Grant. I mean, or we just attack with him, obviously. We can make the call Grant. You got this. So we've got the Marksman for Explosive Arrow. You know what, we're at full health. We're at the point in the game now where we'll have a lot of blockers. I'll just take 2 indirect damage. And, okay, this is a Treachery, but it's not surging at all. Place 1 threat on the main scheme for every 2 delay counters. So there are exactly 2, so we'll put 1 threat on. So the absolute ideal case for this card. If no threat was placed this way, it gains surge. So now we've got Grant. I will spend Mockingbird as a mental resource to not remove Grant from the game. So that worked out very well. Okay. So the thing is, it's still extremely good to just make the call for Nick. As much as I would love to get cute with You Got This. I could use Slingshot's ability to put her into play temporarily. That would require I spend the energy from You Got This. It would be an efficient turn to make the call Mockingbird and Explosive Arrow with Expert Marksman. I don't think I care about Ball and Chain at all. I know it's boring, but I think I just have to get Nick. So make the call, paying 4 for Nick, because he makes really good use of this command team as well. We'll draw 3 cards. Ooh, and some great draws as well. Just to use this electric arrow and make the call in hand. So let's have Grant thwart for 2 on Avalanche. Nick will thwart for 2. I guess we do need to be thwarting a little bit. By next turn, I want to have Blizzard taken out. Could technically die to an advance. Okay, I'm going to assume I can muster enough damage here. Let's thwart for 2. We can technically die to an advance here because it'll go up to 6. Absorbing Man could scheme for 3 plus a boost of 3 with an advance. Let's ready Nick. Let's thwart for 2 again. I mean, especially with this make the call, I feel like I've got pretty good shot at clearing Blizzard. And then we'll flip to hero form. Could have recovered there. I think this attack is gonna make sure we can kill Blizzard. Keep make the call in hand. Let's spend 2 for electric arrow. Okay, I guess I assumed I was going to be shooting Absorbing Man for the stun. That might waste Nick's block. So I could just go for 5 at Blizzard. But obviously if we get another attack, it's going to be amazing that we did it at Absorbing Man. I'm going to do it at Absorbing Man still. 3 damage and stun. And then just attack Blizzard for 3. And end the turn. Okay, Vibranium Arrow makes me feel very good that we can kill Blizzard. 1 threat and 1 delay counter on the main scheme. Both of our enemies are stunned. 2 encounter cards. Dense Forest is going to replace Abandoned Facility. Now, after an undefended attack, we take 1 indirect damage. That'll surge into Piercing Thorns. Discard 1 card at random from your hand. If he is wood, which he is, discard 1 card you control. Well, actually, I think I'll discard Nick for that. So here's for the random card, 1 through 5, left to right. 3 is the Vibranium Arrow. I can't make the call Nick anymore either. And then discard 1 card you control. Yeah, I'm just going to discard Nick. Command Team is also a nice target. If this is an attack, I would have rather discarded Command Team, I think. But on average, that should be better. Icy Grip, you are stunned. If Absorbing Man has the Ice trait, take 2 indirect damage, which he does not. So we're stunned. Okay, a kind of nice looking turn though. I could make the call Grant. Last stand to get him out of play. And I could kill Blizzard if I throw the Sonic Arrow at him. Obviously would rather Sonic Arrow Absorbing Man. Could just be a stay in alter ego kind of turn. Well, I'm very glad to have a turn here where the actual correct decision is to make the call Grant and not Professor X or Nick Fury. So we'll make the call Grant there. Attack Blizzard for 2. Command Team to ready Grant. Attack Blizzard for 2. Use Last Stand to pump it to 5. causes us to discard that ally. So 5 more onto Blizzard, so he's taken 13 damage. So how does this look? All right, I've got to attack to remove my stun before I can attack with the arrow. So this is going to go, if I just kill Blizzard, and if I kill Blizzard and stay in hero form, that looks okay. If I flip down, I mean, it's scheming for 3 plus a boost or 1 plus a boost. But it also just gets Blizzard off the board for good. I think I'm going to hit Blizzard. So just a nice haymaker here for 3 damage. Taking out Blizzard and moving him to the victory display. So if I flip down, this is going to go up to 5, up to 8 plus a boost. Advance almost certainly ends the game. If I stay in hero form, I've got 1 block. Let's see, do I have any make the calls left? Yes. There's still 1 make the call. That's just going to give me a nice turn next turn. To do a little bit more thwarting here. Checking my cable arrows as well. We've got 1 cable arrow in the deck. That'll let me do some thwarting. Yeah, advance is just automatic loss. But the thing is, like, an attack is also a massive problem. Because I'm at 7. I probably have to, well, I'd be taking 3 plus a boost. Let's say it's a boost of like 2. I take 1 indirect damage. I'm not literally dead. All right, I'm gonna flip down. Obviously risky, but a calculated risk. And end the turn. Certain turns, like, uncertain under fire turns, like I won't even win in either case, so. All right, 1 threat on the main scheme, 1 delay. Scheme for 3 plus a boost of 3 puts us all the way up to 11. So now we lose to a lot of random stuff that adds threat to the main scheme as well, but obviously expected there to be fewer than 3 boost icons on there. So Assault is going to surge. Rocky Outcrop is going to replace our environment. Now the effect is to heal 1 damage from Absorbing Man. Another Assault that surges. Omnimorph Duplication. Absorbing Man has the Stone trait, give him 1 face down boost card, which is totally fine. And then Whiteout, which is going to find Blizzard and reveal him. However, he's in the victory display, which is not a place where we can find him. So this card gains Surge. And Piercing Thorns. Discard 1 card at random from hand. So 1 through 6. 5 hits. Cable Arrows, pretty bad one to hit. And he does not any longer have the Wood trait, so do not need to discard a card we control. All right, all things considered, I shouldn't really complain because we're alive. But I've got fairly low prospects for thwarting the main scheme. I can... Well, you know what? Actually, I probably just make the call Professor X. Because especially with the Confuse, that's some good safety. Although I've also got Sonic Arrow, which is a Confuse. So maybe it's not Professor X. So with You Got This, like I could get Grant. So let's just see. So if I could just make the call Professor X and just get call for backup out there. I mean, I don't know if I'm clearing that anytime soon. Kind of just doesn't really do anything. Not really a different use for Professor X that I like. No minion to stun, no X-Men to ready. Alright, I think I just got to make the call Nick for just the best value, and I can still confuse with the Sonic Arrow. So, pay 4 to make the call Nick. Third time this game. Draw 3 cards. 2 cards make us run out the deck, get an encounter card. Hoping to draw, I guess a 1-cost card would be the ideal. I can't play 2 of these 2-cost cards. Or another double resource. Okay. It's not going to be a super efficient end to the turn. I could just recover. Feels bad to do it not at 7, since I'll only heal for 2. I'll flip. And I still might just thwart. Well, let's have Nick thwart for 2. And with the options here, still probably like Sonic Arrow the best. Rapid response just doesn't do a ton. Like, it's good. It would be worth its value, but I think the Confuse is just the most valuable right now. Next question is if I want to keep, how much of these I want to keep in hand. Don't think I want to keep either Rapid Response in hand. Kind of a late game finishing type card. I think I'll get rid of Electric Arrow as well, because I'll have another flip back to Alter Ego, most likely. Okay, yep, I'm just gonna spend for Sonic Arrow, 3 damage. I wish one of those was a physical, then I could shuffle that in. But Sonic Arrow, 3 damage to Absorbing Man, and Confuse. Then so this is going to go up to 10. There is the card that puts a little bit of threat on the main scheme. I'm just going to thwart the main scheme for 1. And end of turn. Okay, our setup cards are back. Not much thwarting to do though. So 1 on the main scheme, and now we're up to 5 delay counters. So our environments are all a little worse. Absorbing Man attacks, Nick will block. No boost abilities, advance is gone, so that does give us a much safer flip down. Nick dies. And now 2 more encounter cards for a total of 3. Master Plan will go find us a side scheme. And went through a lot more of the deck than I would have liked there, because it would have been nice to not have to play around advance as much for a while. So 3 threat Crisis that I can only remove if I sacrifice Maria Hill, so, or sorry, 3 threat Hazard, so not a fan of that. Snowy Hillside will replace Rocky Outcrop and Surge into Shadow of the Past. And okay, let's go a little longer. That's very, very close to a scoop. So the Sniper Shot is either a very notable card here. Alter Ego plays 3 threat on the main scheme. Hero form, deal 3 damage to your hero. And then when Marked for Death is revealed, we go find Mockingbird and put her underneath. And then last card is Icy Grip, you're stunned. If Absorbing Man has the Ice trait, which he does, take 2 indirect damage. And Crossfire Quick Strikes as well, so I'll take 2 from that. So if I had just kept doing damage to Absorbing Man, or also let's say that Blizzard was like any other encounter card. If I had just done 16 damage to Absorbing Man instead, we'd be on stage 3 with 7 damage on him, which would be 9 health left. Don't think I can do 9 damage this turn either, but I could have played for that more, of just absolute rush. So one thought is to just try to find Cable Arrow with the Quiver. But then, like, assuming I go to Alter Ego, I'm dead to every one of the Deadeye shots. Well, I think I kind of just want to play the Quiver anyways. So let's pay 1 for the quiver and search the top 5. Okay, did actually hit cable arrow, which feels kind of lucky, but I think we still got a long way. Still need a lot of help. So I think I will do it, I mean, because it's just answering an encounter card right straight up. So let's cable arrow, slippery conditions. Then, oh, and this exhausts the bow. So let's exhaust to remove stun. I mean, explosive arrow does tap crossfire for a little bit. Just thinking about what to keep in hand. I suppose I should keep an arrow because I'm gonna have 2 expert marksmen now. But we've also got the quiver. Let's keep electric arrow in hand. Spend 1 for expert marksman. Or maybe I just need, no, I just need as much thwarting as I can get. So we'll discard that end of turn. And I think I need to flip down. So discard here, end of turn, and end the turn. Okay, so 2, well, okay, I'm gonna put 3 threat on the main scheme because 1 from step 1, 1 from marked for death, 1 from crossfire. Absorbing man is confused. And then we've got avalanche. So either spend an energy or and there's our sniper shot for 3 damage. Okay, well, kind of some typical Hawkeye problems. Obviously committed a lot of resources to killing Blizzard early on, so if I would have spent more of that energy thwarting, which is not to say that it wasn't correct to defeat Blizzard, just Blizzard might be a little too hard for this deck to take, because I think we did have a fairly good start overall with just playing Nick a bunch of times, got an expert marksman out, not too much awkwardness with the bow. So yeah, I'll keep it in the same video here. We'll do a game 2. I'll swap out Blizzard for the recommended modular set. I never want to pick a modular set that reduces the difficulty so much, but the recommended is Hydra Patrol. So next up, let's try with Hydra Patrol. So let's try again here. I'm going to try the Hydra Patrol modular set this time, which is the recommended one on main scheme 1A. Should be a little easier with less chance to get Blizzard, that 16 health minion, but I wouldn't exactly call this an easy modular set. We've got 3 of these Hydra soldiers, which have delayed surge, and then the rest of these aren't terrible, but those Hydra soldiers are quite annoying. So we'll see if we can take it down this time. I made 1 small change to the deck. I took out 1 rapid response and put in a Quinn carrier, just to try to get some more resource generation. Rapid response isn't really that great in this deck. It's really kind of a finisher card when we've got like Goliath and a command team or 2 in play. But we still got 1 to do that if it's the right time. So we got super absorbing power out. Let's go find environment. Abandoned facility gives us metal, and it is the discard a resource icon 1. right, so that is the worst one, so definitely want to get at least a blocker in this opening hand. Hawkeye is even, I mean, I don't want to go overboard on the resource generation because a lot of the times he can't even use it if he's got too many arrows in hand. All right, here comes the opening hand. Okay, so I got a lot of what I want. So Maria Hill's probably the best just to come in and block right away. I think I'll keep a Cable Arrow. I mean, it can clear super absorbing power right away, which is really, really strong. And then we're not ready for Grant yet. Slingshot gives some nice flexibility. If I have a 6-card hand, I spend 2 to play Maria. Draw a card. 1 to play the arrow. 1 to get the bow. I've kind of got 1 awkwardly left over. So I'm just gonna mulligan. All 4 of these. If I kept Quinn Carrier and I mulliganed into a double resource, I could pay 3 for Quinn Carrier, 1, 2 for Maria, draw a card, play the Cable Arrow. Oh, I think I didn't count Maria's draw in my previous math. So if I pay 2 for Maria, draw a card. Oh no, I did. Well, pay 1 for the arrow. I could pay 1 for Slingshot there. Maybe I didn't. So I'm gonna play around the possibility of doing that with Slingshot. But I'll still discard these 2. Sure, all right. Oh, I forgot I had to go get the bow. That's why my numbers were off. Well, I could honestly just Electric Arrow instead of Cable Arrow. That might still be pretty good. So let's pay 2 for Maria and draw. I won't be able to swing Nick. Let's spend a resource to get the bow. Flip to hero form. And yeah, I've got the thwarting I need, so I think I'll just go with Electric Arrow. So Maria and Hawkeye will thwart for a total of 3 on super absorbing power. We'll pay 2 for Electric Arrow, exhaust the bow, deal 3 damage to absorbing man, and stun. End the turn. We've drawn like all our allies in the first 2 turns here. Except for Professor X, 1 make the call left. So 1 threat on the main scheme, 1 delay counter. Absorbing Man is stunned. 2 encounter cards. Rocky Outcrop, going to replace the abandoned facility. Omnimorph Duplication. Currently has the Stone trait, so we'll give him 1 face down boost card. And then Avalanche. Either spend an energy resource or take 2 indirect damage. So let's think about what we're going to do with the turn. I think it's going to be a stay in hero form turn because I don't want that extra boost to go towards a scheme activation. Got to make the call for Nick if I want. Can't do that if I spend an energy. Nothing to spend Expert Marksman on. So I could spend an energy and just play Mockingbird straight up. That would be a comfortable, efficient turn. Of course, with Nick, you're always kind of just crossing your fingers that you'll draw something to actually do. He only really gets his value if you do. He's only better than Mockingbird if I do make use of all three of those resources. Okay, so I think it's just going to be Mockingbird then. So, okay, I will spend an energy resource. All right, then I'm going to pay 3 for Mockingbird. We'll thwart Avalanche for 2. Let's just have Hawkeye thwart. I mean, last game I thwarted for 1 a couple times when if I had just done damage the whole time, like that might have let me win faster. I'm going to try doing the damage this time. Attacking for 3. And I'll stay in hero form and end the turn. And now after he makes an undefended attack, it's heal 1 damage, so that is not bad at all. So I'll take an attack to face if I have to. So we'll go up to 4 on the main scheme, 2 delay counters. Maria will block this first attack. So Dense Forest is a boost, which changes the undefended attack effect to indirect damage. And second card has no ability, so Maria Hill is taken out. 2 encounter cards. Stall Tactics. Place 1 threat on the main scheme for every 2 delay counters. This happened last game, kind of just the ideal case for that, where we're only putting 1 threat on is really nice. And then our first Hydra Soldier. So no rush to kill the Hydra Soldier. I can flip to Alter Ego pretty safely. And if he only schemes for 1, that's not that bad. Guard is a bit of a problem, so I can't, this could be a decent Sonic Arrow on Absorbing Man. I won't be able to do that. It's looking a lot like a make the call for Maria. I could kill Hydra Soldier. We get this encounter card right away. But then I can Sonic Arrow Absorbing Man to reduce the threat pressure. Well, I think let's play Hawkeye's Quiver no matter what. That's just the kind of setup card that we need. Well, no, because if I make the call, I have exactly enough to make the call Maria and Sonic Arrow, if that's what I want to do. Maria will thwart for 2 on the main scheme, down to 3. It'll go up to 4 with Absorbing Man stunned, confused. 3 encounter cards. I mean, I'm going to have to kill this eventually. So I think I'll skip the Quiver again. Like I said last game, it's like, it's not really a resource every turn because we can only play 1 arrow a turn. So not that big a loss. And again, this turn I'm not making the call for Nick, because for one, probably going to Alter Ego, and we'd have to use up all 3 of those cards somehow, which is not guaranteed. So make the call for Maria and draw a card. And I don't think Cable Arrow is better than Sonic Arrow. I mean, they're worth about the same amount of threat. Unless I wanted to Cable Arrow now and keep Sonic Arrow in hand for next turn. But I think I'd rather just hit it. So Mockingbird and Hawkeye will attack to clear out the Hydra Soldier. When defeated, get dealt a card. Then we'll pay 2 for Sonic Arrow on Absorbing Man, 3 damage. And Confused. Maria will thwart for 2. Flip down and end the turn. We're not really building up any momentum, but things could be worse. Nice Professor X turn, potentially. 1 threat on the main scheme. We'll go up to 3 delay counters. Absorbing Man is confused. And now 2 more encounter cards for a total of 3. Piercing Thorns, discard 1 card at random from hand. 1 through 6, left to right. 4 hits Explosive Arrow. If he is wood, which he is, discard 1 card you control. So I'm in Alter Ego already, so I'll just discard the bow, because I can get it back for 1 resource. I think these allies are worth a little bit more, certainly more flexible. Steel Kick, place 2 threat on the main scheme. 3 if he is metal, which he is not. And then Hydra Patrol, 2 threat. When defeated, search up a Hydra minion and put it into play engaged. So I think just a nice and easy bow Professor X turn. Spend a resource to get the bow back. Spend 3 for Professor X. Confusing Absorbing Man. Flip to hero form. Now, I always hate to use up allies outside of blocking. We've got Absorbing Man confused. I can always wait a turn to do that. So it's 1 point inefficient, I guess, to just have... Oh no, I'm about to get a minion as well. So how about Hawkeye can attack that? Okay, I'd rather save these, so we'll thwart for 1 more than necessary, but I think it's still all right. So we'll search up a Hydra minion, put it into play engaged. So Hydra regular, and I was just thinking before I drew it, I don't remember if Insight happens on reveal or just on engage, but this does have the reminder text that it's when it's revealed, so we will not trigger the Insight one because Hydra Patrol is just a put into play. So we'll have Hawkeye attack to take that guy out. And like I said, save these allies just because it's no difference whether I thwart it now or later, assuming we can't lose this turn, which I don't think we can, to threat being in hero form and with Absorbing Man confused. Okay, so 1 threat on the main scheme takes it up to 7, and we get up to 4th delay counter. Absorbing Man attacks, Professor X blocks. 2 encounter cards. Assault is another attack. So 1 thing just to keep in mind is I can use Mockingbird's ability. It prevents all damage from the attack, but it's not a defense. And this is not, so I have to spend a resource to do this, so I end up with the same amount of resources. The question is only if Mockingbird would be the best thing for me to do this turn. And then I'll take 1 indirect damage from Dense Forest. And honestly, it could be the case that Mockingbird is the best thing to play. This is not a great hand. That would give me an efficient turn of playing Expert Marksman plus Mockingbird. So I think I'm going to do this, actually. Let's spend 1. Or I could play like both command team and just be ready to go to town when Grant comes up again. But I'm out to make the calls. Grant is already there. 8 cards in deck. No, I think I'm going to do the Mockingbird thing. So spend 1 resource, return Mockingbird to hand. And it'll prevent all damage from this attack. No boost ability, but then take 1 indirect damage because of Dense Forest. And caught off guard. Okay, not the worst turn for it to happen. I'll discard the bow. Don't even have an arrow in hand that I wanted to play, so that's why it's not that bad. And in fact, I probably won't even get the bow this turn because this is still my efficient play. I can get the bow next turn with a resource. So we'll go 3 for Mockingbird, 1 for Expert Marksman. Mockingbird thwarts for 2. I think this is just another attack situation. We're at 5 threat now, so it'll go up to 6. Advance, shouldn't lose the game. An extra Insight 1 or that card that counts every 2 delay counters could be tricky. But sooner I can get this in a 2-turn window where we can just win, I think that's still the move. So we'll attack. Oh no, sorry, it would only be an attack for 2 now because I discarded the bow. I mean, damage in chunks of 3 is like ideal. So actually I do think I thwart for 1. Because an attack for 2 almost doesn't really matter because I deal so much of my damage in chunks of 3. And I guess it does matter for the Nick Furies of the world and doing some Grant activations. Yeah, I'm gonna thwart for 1. If I'm ever gonna do it, now is the time when my attack is as least valuable as possible. But then we'll flip down and end the turn. All right, kind of nice. Just this hand works out to just play Goliath and get the bow back. So 1 threat on the main scheme, 1 delay counter, Absorbing Man confused, 2 encounter cards. Well, can't do that anymore. Discard 1 random card from hand. So 1 through 6. 4 is you got this. Discard a card you control because Absorbing Man is wood. Man, really unlucky on that this game. And I mean, it's not the craziest thing to just not get my bow back because Goliath is nice. I'm just thinking of what my turn, what would my turn look like if I don't play Goliath? Well, okay, I think I just discard expert marksman still. Oof, yeah, that's a rough card. Ball and chain is not a rough card. +1/+1. Goliath gets some thwarting done. Represents a huge burst of damage. The alternative is get the bow, fire an arrow, and that's it. That could let me advance. And I would probably confuse again. Okay, I think I'm gonna get the, I'm gonna get the bow. Let's spend 1 to get the bow back. Go to hero form. And I'm just thinking Sonic Arrow, because I've got 2 allies still. So I'm kind of okay with blocks. I really want to be able to steal another card in Alter Ego next turn and kind of go for the kill over the next 2 turns. So let's attack for 3. It's maybe not crazy to go for the win next turn. Now I'm going to do Sonic Arrow. I'll keep Electric Arrow in hand though. The Sonic Arrow for 3 damage and Confuse. That brings us to stage 3, which has got 16 health. And Confuse. So after he activates, if he's got metal or wood, take 1 indirect damage. But I'm still at 8, so still don't really want to take a full attack, but I can take a little bit of indirect damage if I have to. Okay, I think I probably don't keep Electric Arrow actually. It's not actually that much damage. And if I am going to Alter Ego this next turn, the stun doesn't really matter. And I don't think I would have rather kept Goliath. Well, maybe. Okay, actually maybe, okay. So when I pay Sonic Arrow, I'm going to keep Goliath in hand. Because next turn, I mean over the next 2 turns, I think Goliath, just thwarting for 2 and then attacking for a bunch. I think Goliath gives me a lot of outs to a 2-turn win here coming up. So let's end the turn, keeping Goliath in hand. Oh, sorry, not in. Mockingbird. See, I could just attack for 2. If I attack for 2, there's some worlds where I have lethal next turn. But it's still kind of hard. I'm just going to thwart for 2. Okay, end the turn. Oh geez, didn't really occur to me that I still had 2 double resources left. That actually makes my Goliath keep look unbelievable. There's a chance that if I had kept the other one, I might have I don't know. Especially if I knew that my 2 doubles were left, it's like, no doubt, keep Goliath. Because Hawkeye has a pretty hard time spending that. Because he got some 2-cost arrows, I guess, yeah. He's got 2-cost arrows, but if you've got Expert Marksman out, it feels bad to use a double on your arrow for the turn. But we don't have that out, so maybe we would draw a 2-cost arrow. Ooh. So Hawkeye's Quiver is something to play with the one other resource, but Last Stand could also just be a lot of damage. We've also got those guard minions, so that could easily get in our way of planning a lethal. All the more reason to do some thwarting while I can. So 1 threat on the main scheme will go up to 6 delay counters. Absorbing Man attacks will have Maria block. Now after he activates, because he has wood, we take 1 indirect damage. 3 encounter cards. And Under Fire, about time we dodged Under Fire and Shadow of the Past for a long time there. So Advance knocks off the Confuse. Gang Up's going to be another attack. Doesn't really give me anything to bounce Mockingbird to hand, so let's just block with Mockingbird. If Absorbing Man has the Ice or Metal trait, give him a tough status card, which he does not. And then we'll take 1 more indirect damage after Absorbing Man activated. Stall Tactics, so now there's 6 threat on the main scheme, so we'll put 3 threat on the main scheme. And Hydra Regular has Insight 1, so puts 1 threat on the main scheme. So that is 8 threat on the main scheme. I certainly can't just flip to Alter Ego without doing some work there. I've got 8 damage, no, sorry, I've got 11 damage from hand, which is not enough to win. But I've hit both advances now, right? There's both advances. So there's 1 Stall Tactics. 1 Steel Kick places 2 threat on the main scheme. So I think there's another Steel Kick, but there's the other Stall Tactics. But still, I've got a... I mean, I can thwart this for 2 down to 6. It'll go up to 7. Absorbing Man schemes up to 10 plus a boost. But there's just like no way I can stay in hero form either, unless I use Goliath to block for me, which is like terrible efficiency. So let's think about that a little bit. I play the Quiver, I play Goliath. Thwart for 2 down to 6. I attack to kill the regular. Got a block, 2 more encounter cards. Another attack probably kills me. This is all assuming I stay in hero form. We've seen Gang Up and both assaults, so no more attacks. I think I die to more things if I do the Alter Ego plan, though. So let's play the Quiver, and let's activate the Quiver just in case Something here changes my mind. Okay, well, that might be the thing I was looking for. Sonic Arrow would confuse Absorbing Man. So now I could flip down. We'll go up to 7, 8. We don't die to stall tactics. I mean, I don't think there's any. We don't die to the one that puts 2 threat on. All right, I think this is how I win. Let's get Sonic Arrow. Pay 2 to Sonic Arrow, Absorbing Man. 3 damage and confuse. If we get another Hydra Patrol, that is going to be, or Hydra Soldier, that is going to stop me from winning probably. I still think I'm just going to directly attack Absorbing Man for 3. So I like the sound of keeping Goliath plus double, because Goliath is just guaranteed damage. It's not super efficient damage, but like if I draw You Got This, or another Last Stand, or Command Team, like it's a ton of damage. So I think I will keep like this and flip down and end the turn. Okay, we got a Command Team and a You Got This. So I guess actually I don't have the resources to do Command Team and Goliath, but You Got This plus Goliath is a ludicrous amount of damage. That would be enough to win through a Hydra Patrol. So let's see what happens. 1 threat on the main scheme, 1 delay counter. Absorbing Man confused. Hydra regular schemes for 1. Puts us to 10. How did I count that so badly? Oh, I think I was still factoring in two threat from Goliath. So we do lose to that metal card, unfortunately. But I still think, I mean, obviously I've got way too much information now to change what I did, but I might have attacked the Hydra regular there to play around that. But let's see what we got. Exhaustion takes away the win. Into Criminal Past. Only option is to discard the bow. And then Steel Kick ends the game. Darn it. So, I mean, You Got This doesn't work if we can't make a basic attack to begin with. So we weren't gonna... Well, I guess we didn't draw a Hydra Soldier, though. So would I have still had the win just from hand? I would need to quiver for like a Vibranium Arrow. Okay, so I missed the quiver. I would need to pay 1 to get the bow back anyways. So unlucky there. Makes me want to try this matchup again because we were actually pretty close. But if we got a Hydra Soldier, we win through that because Goliath attacks it for 5. You got this to attack for 8 and then ready and attack for 3. Obviously that's fine, that's fine. Icy Grip would have, I think that would have stopped me as well. Oh, Swinging Stone is an extra scheme, so that would have ended the game. And there were 2 of those. And this would have discarded a card at random from hand. That would have hurt as well. So I guess I had a lot of ways to lose there. Okay, maybe I'll try again. I probably won't post it if I lose, but yeah, Hawkeye, I mean, atrocious hero. I mean, no value generation on his identity card. The only cheap, he's got some cheap resource generators, but they can only contribute to arrows, which can be played once a turn. I think we got a pretty average luck of the draw from the encounter deck. Maybe on the, I mean, we certainly didn't get a too difficult draw. I mean, that was a relatively easy draw overall, all up until the underfire. But just, man, early resource advantage, resource ability on the identity card, like that kind of thing just compounds a huge amount of value. You saw at the end of the game, we didn't really have any supports or upgrades built up. And there's just not really any good ones that Hawkeye can play, like Quinn Carrier, Helicarrier, but these are really expensive to get out. So I don't know, could be worth another try. But yeah, otherwise we'll try again with a different hero. Not concerned at all about somebody being able to defeat Absorbing Man, but it would have been cool to see Hawkeye get it done. All right, so thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed those games. Let me know your thoughts if you think this can get there with kind of what I'm trying to do with the deck. And we'll see you next time.